From BQE Restaurant and Lounge in the heart of Atlanta's historic Martin Luther King District, it's Newsmakers Live, bringing you the issues, politics, and perspective of the Atlanta community. Now in its 10th season, here is tonight's moderator and your host, 8-time Emmy Award-winning broadcast journalist, Mr. Maynard Eaton.
One of the guiding lights of Fulton County. You've had those who've been who've been commissioners longer, but John Eaves has been our chairman for 10 years now.
Yes.
10 years, and you still look like your baby-faced kid. How has that ride been? I mean, and because it's not been easy. You've had some tough years during your tenure, but you've always been reelected.
Yes.
And you always have that patented smile.
Yes. Well, it's been a good ride. I will say that the 10 years have gone relatively fast. People don't understand this, but I oversee the largest jurisdiction as a local elected official. This mic is kind of in and out. I represent.
We're getting you.
I represent. Do I need here? So I represent 1 million people, and it's not only 1 million people, but it's a diverse constituency of black and white, North and South, Democrat and Republican, Jew and Gentile, gay and straight. So it's a very diverse constituency, and mitigating those differences sometimes can be a challenge, but I've been successful. So I'm very proud of the fact in 2014, I got 63% of the vote. Wow. 71% of the folks in Atlanta voted for me, 53% of the folks in Sandy Springs voted for me, 90% of the people in South Fulton voted for me. So my numbers are pretty impressive in terms of the wide array of people who vote support me.
And unlike DeKalb County, you've been relatively peaceful. DeKalb's had some turmoil, political and criminal turmoil. You've been had a pretty mild tenure with regard to criminal interest, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think one of the things that I'm very happy about, proud about, is that we've had, to a certain degree, we've been boring, in terms of the lack of, things that have happened under my watch. And I think we've been about business, and we certainly do have occasionally some challenges, but for the most part, we've worked through those challenges. And so compared to some other county governments, I think we are relatively mild, but we're very much productive, and I think very responsive to the needs of our constituency.
Now you're losing some. Now, the city of South Fulton now, does that hurt the overall county business when cities incorporate like that?
So we are new. I mean, we're in a new territory now where we're now fully municipalized. Big word. But basically means every inch basically of our county is accounted by some cities. So we now have 15 cities.
Wow. And
so it's a new normal for us. So the unincorporated area, which is now the new city of South Fulton, represents about 100,000 people. And they are now the third largest city in Fulton County, first Atlanta, second Sandy Springs, and third now the new city of South Fulton.
They really be that large? Huh?
It's a large group of folks down there. It's the least developed part of our county in terms of commercial and residential, some land that still has not been developed. But it's exciting in terms of it being a new frontier, and there's some great possibilities for the new city of South Fulton.
Does that diminish your clout, the county's clout, or does it, or because you're still the umbrella for everything that happens?
Listen, I think we are trending now to a new type of government where we are more of a regional type government. We work very cooperatively and collaboratively with cities, and so some of our area of responsibility changed from now the city taking on police and fire protection for the unincorporated area, zoning, parks and recreation, but now we provide countywide services at $660 million worth of services, and we are now...
Sorry about the juggling microphone.
Right.
We want to make sure we hear.
But we're now focusing on the general services, and we're now more of an umbrella. We work with the cities, we work with Atlanta, we work for Sandy Springs, we work with Union City, et cetera. And so we're more of a regional government. And so I have sort of a 99th floor view of what happens in this big county we call Fulton County.
Speaking of this big view and the other cities you work with, at times you and the mayor of Atlanta have bumped heads. How's that relationship?
Well, I figured this out. It's that Morehouse Howard thing. he's a Howard man and I'm a Morehouse man, and we always think that our school is the top HBCU, and I think that's what really the problem is.
But hasn't the real problem been that sometimes he's kind of tried to overshadow you, big muscle you out of some things? I don't know. It seems like I don't know. It just seems like at times it seems to me he's tried to overshadow you.
Well, I played football at Morehouse, and I played defensive back, cornerback specifically. I was a finesse player. For me, the goal was to defend the pass, stop the touchdown, and that's how I was successful. And so I'm a finesse political figure. I don't get I'm unwavering in terms of the goal. The goal is to deliver the best service for my constituents. And whenever I come across somebody who's either on my side or not on my side, I figure out how to work around that individual. So that's what I've done in the past.
Yeah, you don't seem to be the typical Atlanta politician. Maybe perhaps you learned that from your uncle, Reginald Eaves. I don't know.
Well, my uncle Reginald, who was a pioneer in terms of politics in the early 70s, the first black police chief, I learned a lot from him. He had a lot of quiet moments with me up until he passed away a year and a half ago. He certainly passed on a lot of wisdom, and he and I are very different. He was a lot more gregarious and loud and all this other type of stuff. I'm a little bit more reserved, but we both shared a love for people, a passion for the black community. So I certainly learned a lot from him.
With regard to politics, we're going to talk about your football playing a little later. With regard to politics, there are those, and you know it, you've heard it, would like to see you run for mayor. There's some will say you are going to run for mayor. Are you tired of Fulton County, ready to take Kasim seat?
Well, I will say that a lot of people have asked me, and it's something that I'm taking under serious consideration. I think I have a great track record to run on. Have done a great job with Fulton County. I'm not the best self-promoter. I don't brag about what I've done, but I certainly feel that most people who see Fulton County say that it is a better Fulton County under my watch. And I'm certainly taking all this under consideration. I'll make a decision sometime in March.
Sometime in March, yes. You'll decide. Well, you still have some good people around you. Gloria Neal.
Oh, yeah. She was a major coup. She's a wonderful journalist and wonderful asset to my team.
Speaking of team,
yes,
your team didn't do too good yesterday.
Which team you talking about? You're assuming I was a Falcons fan?
Well, I saw you waving on Facebook.
You're right. It was amazing. We were planning a parade for tomorrow.
Yeah.
And three quarters into the game, I was texting my team saying, let's make sure we secure the parade route and my speaking on the agenda. But one thing is true. You don't win until the last second ticks off the clock. And
I know you know that in politics too, don't you?
Yeah, you have to see it through.
Right.
And you look at the game, and there were several pivotal points that seemingly added up to a big switch of momentum. And after a while, you just almost felt in a very eerie way this thing was not going to happen. Whether it was the holding call when the Falcons were in full field goal range, or the sack, then the 2-point conversions that were converted. The first one, it was like, okay. The second one, it won't happen. And so it was this incredible shift of emotions that I think everyone in Atlanta felt, from exhilaration to the disappointment. Yeah.
You have shepherded the county, as you said, for 10 years now.
Yes.
Done what many would say is a credible, if not outstanding job.
Right.
The city of Atlanta has some problems, some issues, gentrification, crime. How do you see yourself fitting into that, transition to that role, should you decide to run for mayor?
Well, I think that anybody who assumes that role, first of all, recognize the importance of the role. I come at politics as a position of service and one of humility, and recognition that I am in a position to impact people, and I take that very seriously. And having said that, I think that the person who becomes mayor has to look at Atlanta from a service leadership perspective, number one, in terms of truly meeting the needs of the diverse constituency. Number two, Atlanta is a relatively small geographical imprint in a larger whole of this region.
Right.
It's only 440,000 people. Fulton County is 1.1 million people, so it's larger in terms of jurisdiction. The strength of Atlanta going forward is recognizing that it is part of a region. The success of Atlanta is connected to the success of Sandy Springs and DeKalb County and Union City and East Point and Cobb County to the west. Issues that are confronting the city right now, whether it's public safety, quality of life issues, it can only be solved through a regional collaborative way. And certainly for me, having had to do this from a county perspective, working with 14 and now 15 cities, 4 other counties in the metro region, I've seen it. I've seen how it works. It's not easy, but it can be done when you identify what's called the common denominator. And I think the mayor of Atlanta has to recognize that in terms of really making the city the vibrant city that it can be in the future.
Mr. Chairman, you may not have decided yet, but if you do run, that sounds like a heck of a message to run on.
Well, you know, it's a message I run on in terms of Fulton County, and it's resonated. You know, I'm proud of the fact that when I won in 2006, nobody thought I could win. I'm only the second African American to hold this seat, and people thought that a Democrat nor an African American could hold this seat, but I did it in terms of articulating a message that resonate. And I've always talked about collaboration and working across the aisle and identifying what we had in common versus things that differed between us.
Well, should you decide to run for mayor, won't you be giving up a powerful seat yourself or leaving Fulton County? You said 1 million people, a heck of a track record. I mean, isn't that some pause for concern about what you might be giving up to run?
Well, whenever I have held a position professionally or personally, I have, first of all, sought to make the position or the people I serve in a much better space than when I got there. And I feel that is the case for Fulton County. And also, any good leader, any good manager, any good chairman, any good whomever, certainly should have things to a certain degree in autopilot status. And so if you walk away from the job, or if you, because of whatever act of God, you no longer can hold a position, the true testament of how effective you are is, can it continue after you're gone? And so I feel that I put certain things in place just by nature of doing, providing good leadership, providing good governance. So no matter when I leave, it should continue as long as it should.
Excuse my ignorance, but would you have to resign as chairman to run for mayor?
I would have to resign if I were to run for mayor or any other position that may be out there.
Is it daunting to think about as you make this decision about all the others who are supposedly running? Does this large field in any way give you pause for concern?
Man, and I feel that I have accomplished a lot in my life. I'm the recipient of 2 Fulbright grants, German Marshall Fund. I have played football in the high school and the college level. I've gone to Yale University, Morehouse College, got a PhD from the University of South Carolina. I've worked many professional jobs. Every job, every attainment, every achievement that I've gotten and earned, it's been a result of competition and rising to the top. And so I'm not afraid of competition. And if I were to listen to naysayers, I wouldn't be where I am today. And so I have a quiet inner confidence in terms of whatever I decide to do, I feel that I'm going to accomplish it with God's help.
Are the numbers there for you, sir, and the money there? I mean, because you got to get the numbers, you know that. I mean, you've voted before. Do you think the numbers would be there for you?
The numbers, I received 159,000 votes in 2014. And again, 71% of the people in Atlanta voted for me. So the votes are there. And I want to restate what I said before. In order to be the chairman of Fulton County, one of the most diverse counties in the state of Georgia, you have to be able to get Democrat and Republican, black and white, Jew and Christian, gay and straight, north and south. And so I feel that I have demonstrated that I can get a diverse constituency of people to support me.
And that would be the key, you think, to your successful candidacy should you decide to run?
When I first became knowledgeable about Atlanta politics, when my uncle Reginald was the first black police chief in the early 70s, and when he ran for county commissioner, and then when he ran for mayor, the dynamics of Atlanta that then are much different now.
Yeah, they are.
And in order for me to be successful on a more larger level, I have to have a more balanced perspective and a more diversified reach. And that's the same for the city of Atlanta.
Where do you see this city going? And along with your county? I mean, are we at a precipice here? Are we at a pivotal point in our development right now in the city and the county?
I believe that Atlanta and the county both are poised to be, we're on the verge of greatness. I think we're really good now, but I think that we can the approach we have to make is acknowledge the good and the benefits and the assets we have in our community, but also be very deliberate about our challenges. So we can talk about all the wonderful things that we have, fifth highest number of college-educated people, the third largest number of corporations, the world business airport. But the fact of the matter is we have 28% of our population is in poverty. We have about 35% of our public school system students drop out of school. 76% of our kids are in poverty in school. So we have a lot of challenges, and our quality of life is challenged. If we don't deal with those issues, we can never get to a level of true greatness. And I hate to sound so flowery and Pollyannister-like, but the fact is we've got to be able to address these critical issues that I believe are plaguing our communities, that are manifesting themselves in terms of higher than we should have poverty, housing that's foreclosed,
right,
high school dropouts, and crime in our community.
There seem to be a lot of folks, well, we know a lot of folks are still suffering here, despite the gleaming building and the success we've had.
Right.
We've not won a Super Bowl on the field or the Super Bowl in the field of play with regard to our citizenry. Is that correct?
It is. I mean, so I live in Southwest Atlanta. I purposely moved to Southwest Atlanta, made an investment because not only the past of how Southwest Atlanta Cascade was a community of pride, but I wanted to lay my claim in a community that I think still has a future. And so, anyway, I'm vested, very much vested.
Chairman of Fulton County Commission, possibly a mayoral candidate, but certainly a quiet fire with regard to your political activity. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much, man. It's been my pleasure. Keep on doing your thing, bro. That was fast.
Kept changing mics.
Thank you for coming out. Thank you for coming out, Commissioner. You know, John Eaves is consistent. As I look at all the politicians in the city, all the people who held elected offices over the years, I haven't always been on the same side of the policies that he likes. But one thing I can say, he has been consistent. He's been consistent, and he's been mindful of those who are the lesser of us. Perhaps that level of consistency and that level of awareness is what some of our leaders lack. John Eaves is a good thing. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Newsmakers.
All right.